my closest friends. Easy, he was the first person I met when I moved here, and he was the first person to help me record.
Yeah.
And I remember we would record like 16, 17 hours when I get like super serious. We walk in, it's daylight, walk out, it's daylight again. The next
Wait, so
day.
straight.
Straight. We would just lock in. And I mean, I realized like he helped up my production and he helped up my skill because he challenged me. And I never had that before. And then I remember when we were done recording, I was like, all right, we gonna take this to go get it, push it. And he was like, we? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, we. I was like, yeah, we. He said, no. He said, I'm a producer. I make it sound good.
I don't promote you.
He said, it's your job to go promote yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, okay.
What's up, everybody? This is the Untapped Potential Podcast. I'm your host, Max Prado.
And I'm your host, Chris Navan.
And today, our special guest is Emanuel Brown, an independent hip-hop and R&B artist.
Come on, let's go.
What's going on, Mr. E. Brown? How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. I appreciate you guys having me. And I actually mean that. Like, I know I seen on your episode where you were like, now I know how it feels when people be like, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's like you feel like you have to say that.
No, I truly mean it, though, because, you can't take opportunities lightly.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure, 100%.
And I'm just a fan.
Yeah, and we appreciate it, man. I mean, you comment on all of our videos and stuff.
Yes,
and
sir.
I think for us, too, like, I want to say this, like, just genuinely, when Max and I were talking about this, like, this is the interview that I think both of us were really working towards, because this is the first interview that we didn't know you personally coming into this. And so, like, this is a real genuine interview. And I'm really excited for this because this is what we've been working towards. And so
I hope I live up to what your expectation is. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, we know you do. We've already heard your music. You sent us, your album in advance that you're dropping next month. So, we know that you're really about what you do. So let's dive into that. Let's talk a little bit about, who you are as a person, where you come from, and a little bit about that. So can you tell us?
I'm from Newport News, Virginia. It's a very small town on the southeast region of Virginia, off the Chesapeake Bay, real close to the Atlantic Ocean. I don't think there's more than, it sounds big, but it's really not when you think of like big cities. I don't think there's more than 500,000 people there.
Oh wow! So it's not not that huge, but it's pretty big.
It's pretty big. The biggest military base in the world is there.
Yeah.
Oh, in the world.
Yeah.
Well, the U.S. Let me say the U.S.
Okay.
I know that is a fact. I know that is a
that's
fact.
crazy.
For
That's
the
crazy.
US,
In Newport, you said Newport News, Virginia.
So it's technically Norfolk, Virginia, where the biggest Navy base is, but
Norfolk,
Newport News, Virginia is where I'm from, and they're about 20 minutes from each other.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Oh, so just right outside of it.
Yeah, so basically how it works is we call it the 7 cities. We call it the 757 because there's 7 cities on 5 different islands.
Oh.
Right? And they all
7 cities. Okay.
Yeah, so they all connect to each other. And it's like a big circle, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Gotcha.
So what was it like there? How was it growing up there?
It's so funny that you say that because I like to tell people I didn't have it the easiest, but I didn't have it the worst. I sort of fell in the middle of the pendulum swing.
Yeah.
I had a decently good and decently tough life.
Yeah.
I lost my mom at a very young age. I think this is the first time I've ever mentioned that on camera.
Oh, really?
But I lost my mom at a very young age. I think I was 12. Same stuff that happens in most people's lives. Crime, drugs. I just felt like if I didn't leave Virginia, I'd have became a product of my environment.
I feel that.
So it was just time to go.
Yeah.
And your way out of Virginia was through the military, right?
Yeah, I joined the military in 2012. I really realized, like, if I did, I jokingly, like, laugh about it because it sounds crazy when I tell people, but, like, if I didn't leave, I was going to sell drugs. Like, that was just going to be the way of life I wanted to take because that's all I seen was just drug dealers.
Yeah.
Those were the people that were successful around you.
Yeah, that. And, if you weren't working at the shipyard, and they made good money back there, so if you weren't working there, you were selling drugs.
Gotcha.
Or you left the state. And if you didn't have the money to leave the state, you were thinking, well, how can I make money?
Yeah.
And you see all these dope boys with these nice cars.
Yeah, they were the ones that were flashing.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Even though they get locked up left and right, but it's like, okay, then that's what I'm going to do.
I feel
I had a plan. like, which is scary. Like I had to really like realize how scary it was for me to think in my brain, like, I'm an assistant manager at a car wash here.
Yeah.
And I know how I can sell drugs through this operation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to sell drugs while I'm working here.
Yeah.
Like, I started, I started like crafting a plan. I said, I can sell drugs out of here. Boom, 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 boom. Make this amount per day. And I was like, I got to get out of here before I start doing this. So like,
Yeah. No, that's cool though. I mean, where do you think that came from though? That thought that, I want to get out of here instead of I want to dive into it and like actually do that.
I think realistically, a lot of people give me credit, but I don't think that's fair. I have to give credit to my wife, to two of my closest friends that I've known for years, because they always wanted better for me. And I didn't really want better for myself. I just sort of thought the way life was for me was just what it was. Like I said, I came from an area where, things were difficult.
Yeah.
My dad's side of the family is filled with nothing but people who hustled their whole life. And my mom's side, is filled with gangbangers.
Yeah.
So, like, that's all I knew was just, like, you either got to hustle to go get it or you in the streets. So I was just like, okay, that's what I'm going to be.
I feel that.
And then my friends was like, nah, that's not what you have to be. You can be whatever you want. You can leave this and be whatever you want. And they knew I had a passion for music. So they was like, yo, get out of here. Like, do something to get out of here. And then I seen they started leaving. It was like, I got to go.
So you saw all your friends leaving in this environment and, moving out of just that whole drug scene and just trying to hustle, and they're trying to convince you to as a way to help you get out of that. Like, hey man, you gotta leave this place.
Yeah.
This isn't the future. This isn't like what's going to benefit you long term.
And I mean, to make it like 100% honest, when I was in high school, my senior year, because I failed ninth grade because I just didn't go to school.
Yeah.
And then I caught up, right, because my friends were like, yo, come on, man, you could do this. And I caught up, graduated on time. And then I remember I was talking to my guidance counselor, and she was like, yeah, so what are you going to do? Are you going to go to college? And I was like, college?
Yeah.
Can't go to college with these grades I got. My grades are trash. And she was like, you can go to community college. I didn't even think that was a possibility.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't even think it was a possibility.
Yeah.
She was like, no, you can go to community college. So I went for a year. And then I went to a university close to Virginia Tech where my best friend went. And then I just, got caught up in, college life, freedom, doing what you want. I didn't go to class. And then I sort of just like flunked out. But I have friends there. Yeah. My friends back home, my girl at the time that's now my wife were just like, come on, like, you can be better. So I sort of like just believed them.
Yeah.
When I didn't even believe it myself. And that's how it happened.
That's cool, man. And so let's get into the music.
Yeah.
What was your introduction to music kind of growing up and stuff?
Honestly, my dad was big into oldies like Motown, Marvin Gaye, stuff like that. And then what happened was I got introduced to hip-hop when I was like 7 or 8. My first record I heard was a Dr. Dre record.
Oh.
I forget what song it was. Then I got introduced to Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Doggy Style was pretty much like cranking through the streets around those times. And then like I sort of knew like I liked music and enjoyed it, but I wasn't really into it. And then when I hit 12, I just seen kids rapping in school one day, and I'd never seen that before. So I was like, what's this? And they were like, we're rapping. Do you know how to rap? And I was like, no. And I just tried, and I never stopped.
So you just got hooked instantly, and you just started rapping, and then that kind of carried over. I know you mentioned, too, I believe your dad was a part of the music scene, too, to some extent. Was he a musician?
I don't want to say he wasn't a part of the music scene, but I learned later on in my life from my, his brother that he used to sing when he was younger. Gotcha. He was in a singing group, and, they tried, and they just didn't go that far. So I think, once my family really started to see how serious I was, or starting to be how serious I was with music, they didn't want to see me fail like they did.
Gotcha.
So they were just like, nah, don't do that. There's no way out of it.
Gotcha. So they didn't see the success from your dad and like his group, and they didn't want that same outcome for you because, obviously they don't want you to fail either, but you were committed to just grinding and just keep going.
Well, I was at that time, if I'm just being honest, as I look back, I was committed to making music. I wasn't committed to like being successful. I was just committed to being like, I'm gonna be dope at making music.
Gotcha.
And then as, the years went by, I learned that that's just not the only way to be great at music. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have the music and the business. They go together for a reason.
There's a lot more aspects to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when did you make that leap? When did music go from being something you did for fun to something you were taking really seriously?
I say recently, probably 2014.
Oh,
it's probably like the time where I was really like, this is what I'm doing. And I was in the military. I had about 2 years before I got out. And I remember I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I remember I woke up one day and I went to go put on my socks and my boots to get ready to go to work. And I said, damn, what am I going to do? Like, am I just going to stay in the Navy or am I like really going to go for this? And I remember I was going through a job listing, just scrolling through jobs. And I'm just looking at all of them. And I'm like, I don't want to do none of this shit. Yeah. And I was like, I just want to make music. So then right then and there, I said, this is all I'm doing. I said, once I get out, I'm hitting the ground running. I'm never stopping. And that's it. There is no plan B.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people that know me and, you know, love me dearly hate it when I say that, but there is no plan B. It's only plan A. So that's how we got here.
That's cool though, man. That's you 100% are invested in this, in music.
And that's what you got to be, not just in music, but anything.
Right.
Is 100% invested, because if you're not, then you're sort of just wasting your time and everybody else's time.
Exactly.
And to some extent too, like if you don't have blind faith in what you're doing, you can easily get discouraged, and then you end up quitting and you end up failing in that way anyway. But in a lot of cases too, when you're first starting out, you're not going to have like hundreds of fans, right? Yeah. You're not going to have thousands of listeners. You're going to have nobody. And so you're going to be speaking into an empty room for a long time until people start filling that. And that's really cool. I think just from that perspective that you have just went in knowing that this is just going to be a grind, but I enjoy doing this and I'm going to make it as big and as best as I can. And also you have the business sense too. So that's something that really stood out as we were looking through and researching you, man. So, props to you, man, because every piece of content, we were just talking about this too, every piece of content, we'll go into this in a little bit, is quality production, man. Yep. Like and not only the audio, because we'll talk about the album too, but the audio piece is just crazy how much work you put into it, but the video portion too, which a lot of people overlook, is top notch, and you really you can really tell that you put a lot of attention, a lot of effort into what you're doing, and so that's really something special.
No, thank you. And I mean, realistically, you got to know that sometimes it's not even always about being good. Yeah. Like people think like you got to be good. Being good doesn't even matter anymore. What really matters is, does it look good? Right. Does it sound good? And I don't even mean like sounding like good music. Like, does it sound like something you can sit through and be like, you know what, they sound professional.
Right.
Yeah. Or is it like, you know, you sound like an amateur, so I'm going to treat you like an amateur. And that's what I learned along the way, was like, the more opportunities you give people to take you seriously, the more they will.
Yeah, no, for sure. Mm-hmm. And so you were raised in Virginia, but you moved to Seattle. Yep. And so the Navy brought you to Seattle, right?
It did. So it's so funny because on the East Coast, right, in Virginia, when people say you're going to Washington, we only think of D.C.
Yeah.
Washington State does not exist to us.
Everybody in the country, everybody that we talk to, and you've seen this before too, you're like, I'm from Washington. And especially like from people from Mexico, like, oh, they think of like the White House.
Yeah. Exactly. I remember they were like, yeah, you're going to Washington. I was like, oh, okay, D.C., like 2.5 hours up the road. And they're like, no, Washington State. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, what's that? Like, I literally sounded like, what's that? And it was like, Seattle. And I was like, oh, okay. And then, like, I love it here. Like, I've never felt more at peace, and more opportunity has been here than anywhere I've ever been.
Do you feel like you've been able to cultivate and, like, flourish yourself in terms of a music perspective? Like, you're able to just thrive in that environment more here, more so than you would have in, like, Virginia or in the East Coast?
I think, as a whole, take the music out of it, just life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like I flourished here.
Oh, okay.
You know, the amount of opportunities that are here, I really feel like people, not all people, but most people I've come across from here don't appreciate it whatsoever. And I think that's something we have to like start talking about and figure a way for people to be like, no, like, you really don't know how good you have it here.
Yeah.
Compared to like the rest of America.
Right.
Because I mean, it's tough. I mean, like, you know, you guys have Mexican roots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
for sure.
come on, like they would die to come here.
Oh, for
you know
sure.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
minimum wage in Virginia is $7.50.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. And and people here are complaining about $15.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, let me call some people and I'll have them fly over here and take your job if you don't want it. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's the biggest thing is like, I had to learn to practice appreciation in life. And that's what moving here really taught me.
That's cool, man. Mm-hmm. How's the music scene out here for you?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, I have my opinions, of course, about, some of the, I guess that's a really like multifaceted question.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there's so many levels to it. If you're just talking about the surface level, I like it.
You like it?
I like it for sure. It's at the time when I was in Virginia, and I always say at the time because I don't want people to think from Virginia that follow my music that I'm hating on Virginia because that's not it. Right. At that time, there was no opportunities. I didn't know where to go to perform a show. I couldn't figure out where I had to go to get a radio interview or do anything. It just wasn't there at that time to my knowing, right? So when I got here and I said, oh, I can do a show here. I can perform here. I can go to a radio interview. Why would I leave here? Yeah. Right? It's just like, why would I not dive in 100%? Gotcha. So that's what I learned when I got here.
So you found a lot of platforms out here to promote your music.
Yeah, and I mean, the more you work, the more you got to earn your chops.
Oh, for sure.
In anything. So like the more I work, the better I get.
So I want to talk about that a little bit too, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out, who are watching this that don't really know how to even get started into music. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just knowing that there's a lot of opportunity just in this area, I think is intriguing. So like, what would you say to somebody, or how did you first start out like going to radio interviews, or like how did that kind of materialize for you?
Let me think on that for a second. I think it really comes down to you got to know the right people. Number one, you got to get in the right doors with the right people. But I feel like the most important thing is to do it and make it genuine. Don't just do it because you're trying to step up. And I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of people do in any industry. It's like they'll just be like, oh, I need to talk to Max and Chris because like I know they can get me to the next level. And it's like, nah, that's whack. Like, no, like if you really rock with them as people, get to know them. Yeah. See how it goes. Don't always expect somebody to give you something. And I think that's the biggest problem in the music industry and life is people they just expect you to give it to them. No, they worked hard to get to where they're at. So you got to work just as hard, and you got to know that it's a slow roast. Not everything's supposed to happen quickly, right? And it's tough because we live in such a microwave era. That's the expectation.
The instant gratification, I think.
People think they're going to post like an Instagram post or whatever, and they're going to blow up.
I mean, let me just be honest. Like when I put out my first album, The News, man, I was just like, I remember when we finished it, I was like, this shit is fire.
Yeah.
I was like, how can I not blow up from this
Exactly.
shit?
I had that thought. I said, I'm about to fucking blow up. Yeah. And when I put that shit out there and it was like crickets, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I don't get it. And then I had to sit back and I had to take myself, like my ego out of it. And I was like, you know what? I didn't promote this. I didn't push this anywhere. Yeah. I barely told people about it. Of course it's going to fail.
Yep.
What do I expect?
Instead of thinking about it emotionally, you took like an analytical approach and you were like, I didn't make the right moves in order to make it.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing is like people really think that's going to happen and it doesn't. And even if you do all those things that I said, like promoting it and you don't see, what you want to see, it's okay because you still have people who are supporting it. People who support it are people who support it.
Oh, for sure.
It doesn't matter if it's 5 or 5,000.
Yep.
Take it. Appreciate it because they don't have to be there.
Yeah. Right. No, for sure. And so let's talk about your album, your first album, The News. That was your first official album.
Yep.
And we talked on the phone earlier this week, and you were telling me that it took you about 2.5 years to put that album together.
Yes, sir.
That is a long time, man. Tell me about a little bit about like your process and kind of what you learned from that album.
That's, man, great question. I would have to say that process was really about, I learned you got to be consistent because I wasn't. Yeah. That's why it took so long. When I think back on it, I wasn't consistent. I wasn't consistent with going to the studio, writing, recording, getting the beats, I wasn't. I just thought like, it'll come out whenever it does. And then I learned that I can't expect to grow if I don't continually work towards growth.
It's almost like an athlete, right? Like you got to keep training. Otherwise, like when you show up to the football field, you're going to be out of shape and not ready to be prime time. And so you just got to keep sharpening those skills, essentially is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly.
And so that's why, so when you first put out this album, you didn't have that mindset and you thought it's just going to come whenever it's going to come.
I thought it was going to fall in my lap.
Oh.
That's not like, you can't think like that.
Like one day, like all of a sudden, boom, oh man, like, all right, boom, 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 I'm going to write all these songs, write all these lyrics and stuff. And like, here it is.
That, and I thought that people would just come to me and I wouldn't have to go to them.
Yeah.
Like in terms of collabs?
No, I mean that, anything, success, anything. Like interviews, I thought it all was just going to be like, he's dope. We need to talk to him.
Yeah. Like you thought you were going to wake up one day, your inbox was going to be full of fans.
I really did. I really
interviewers,
did.
collab,
I
other
sure
people.
Did.
Yeah.
And when it wasn't, I was like,
what's going on?
It's probably me.
Yeah.
Like that was when it was like, click. It was like, and then I mean, here's the thing too. Nobody, except for maybe one person I personally know, outside of that person, and we're not even going to talk about them, but everybody else does not do it alone.
Yeah.
They don't.
Right.
They have help some way, shape, or form. Like, I mean, somewhere along the line, like you just can't learn all of this on your own. So I had people in my ear, like one of my closest friends, Easy. He was the first person I met when I moved here. And he was the first person to help me record. Yeah. And I remember we would record like 16, 17 hours when I get like super serious. We walk in, it's daylight, walk out, it's daylight again. The next
Wait, so
day.
straight.
Straight. We would just lock in. And I mean, I realized like he helped up my production and he helped up my skill because he challenged me. And I never had that before. And then I remember when we were done recording, I was like, all right, we gonna take this to go get it, push it. And he was like, we? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, we. I was like, yeah, we. He said, no. He said, I'm a producer. I make it sound good.
I don't promote you.
He said, it's your job to go promote yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, okay. Let me go figure out how to do that.
Yeah, man.
So boom.
You need people like that in your corner though, right?
You do.
People that are going to give you those wake-up calls and be honest with you. Because if you just have like yes men next to you at all times that are just agreeing, even with the bad things that you do or say, they're just going to set you up for failure. And so you did your first album, right? Took you 2.5 years to put together. After that, you were dropping a song and a music video every month from May 2019 to December 2020.
Yep.
That's a new music video every month.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I think I missed one.
Yeah.
Only one. And it was my fault.
That is really consistent,
that's
though.
That's like, 18 months? I don't know.
And that's a lot of work, too, to put a video out every month.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine the videos that we put out, dude. It takes us forever to put out stuff for my brand, but to do that every month, I can't even imagine that, man, the amount of work.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's like, now, like, to me, it doesn't seem like a lot because I've done it. But at that time, it's like, I'm going to do this, right? And it was like, I don't care what I got to do. I'm going to make it happen. And then once you start getting really good at stuff, like even y'all, like with the podcast, right? It just becomes second nature.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's just like, song a month? Okay.
You were
easy.
just doing it.
It's like easy, right? Now I'm trying to like go with a challenge now with myself. June 1st, I want to do a song a day for 3 months.
A song a day?
For 3 months. So like, that's my goal. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to hit it. But I'm setting the bar high. Even if I only do 15 days, that's 15 songs.
That's a lot of songs.
Right? Yeah. So it's like, you got to keep finding ways to challenge ourselves to be better.
No, for sure. Yeah. And so we actually want to pull up some of the songs that you were doing, some of the videos that you did
let's get it.
During that time so we could talk about them a little bit. So you were dropping, a new video and a new song every month from May 2019 to December 2020, right?
Yep.
So we're going to kind of flip through your YouTube channel and take a look at some of these videos. We can start off with Red.
Yeah.
One of my favorites of your music videos. I think it's like the video production and the song is really cool, and I think it really ties it all together.
Yeah, shout out to Bonkai. who did all like the special effects. My guy Lucas, all good. He shoots all my videos.
Yeah.
Or all of them since February of last year.
Oh yeah.
So he's been shooting with me for a good minute, and we shot this up in Cedro Willie at an abandoned mental hospital.
Oh, that's
dope.
Yeah, so
Did
that's
you
why
kind of
it
have
looks,
to like sneak in there? Was it?
No, it's like
off?
it's like a part of a park. Actually, so like
that's kind of weird.
it was last minute too,
Yeah.
because we were looking at locations, and then he was just like, "Yo, let's just pull up here." So we drove up there. Shout out to King Dow, who's right there. So yeah, that's how we just pulled up there. We shot it.
Yeah, man. And this
That's
one has a
cool,
lot of
man.
views too. I mean, 6,700. That's quite a bit, man.
Yeah,
A lot
no,
of-
thanks, man.
But yeah, like this was the one that I think stood out to me the most, just because of the fact that you can tell the production value. I mean, look at the transitions,
Right.
the effects that are just being included in here. Like you don't see that a lot in independent artists.
Yeah, you could tell y'all really went in. Like production
Yeah.
value, everything, man.
Yeah, I can't take any credit, man. I just sort of stood in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You know? So like, yeah, that's my brother there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Havana, Marina. You know, they were coming through. And then actually, one of my most supportive fans, Caitlin, was there. She watched us shoot the whole video.
Oh,
She just wanted
that's
to pull up
cool.
and watch us shoot a video. So she stayed there for the 4 hours we were there.
oh,
That's
damn.
crazy.
And
That's
she just
cool,
like, she
man.
was just like, looking. It was so crazy because I thought she was bored. And she was like, this is so crazy.
Really? So she
Yeah.
was just excited to be there.
Yeah, she just watched the whole thing. And then when it came out, she was like, wow. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, this turned out really well.
Yeah, we dropped this on Halloween.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
right.
like
too.
that. That
I
fits
like
the
that.
theme. It's crazy though. I feel like you're a natural in front of the camera too. You don't look like
Yeah.
awkward or nervous. You know how sometimes like there's
Yeah.
people in music videos you can
Yeah.
tell like they're not used to being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
They could be like the best rappers, but it's just kind of different. How do you feel in front of the camera?
I mean, I feel like I'm at home. I sort of had to learn to do
Yeah.
that. You know, it takes time with anything.
You feel like it's always been like that, or it took you a while to
Nah,
get
I think it
comfortable?
took time because I didn't really start shooting videos to 2016.
Got you.
Oh, got it.
So like,
a little
you know,
later.
we worked through it, coached through it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So this IDK, this is I think it's the first song off of Mosaic, right?
Yes,
It's the
it
opening
is.
track to the
Yep.
album. See, I really like this song. I really like the video too. I feel like it's a very introspective song. Like you're really kind of thinking about your life and like the
Yeah.
different pressures and the kind of
Yeah.
the things that are like kind of like going through your head that I think a lot of us could relate to.
yeah. You know what's so crazy is like this was the first song I wrote off the project.
Yeah.
And I usually start writing from the ends. So I write the beginning and the last track, and then I fill in through the middle.
Oh, okay.
And when I was writing this, I was like, yeah, I like this. And then I played it for some people, and they were like, damn, this shit's really depressing, but I like it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't really think about it like that. And I mean, I had some, what's the word I'm looking for? Confrontation with family when this song came out.
Yeah.
I had people calling me and was like, why'd you say this or say that?
you
And
say
I'm
that?
Because
just
you
like,
do talk a
well,
lot about your
Yeah,
family and like
bro.
your relationship with your father and
Yeah. To be honest, too, I was gonna say that I feel like you're very vulnerable in your music. Like
Yeah.
you're
Thank
not
you.
afraid to say like what you're really feeling, like those dark thoughts that I think a lot of us try to kind of hide in a little corner.
Right.
Like you put them on a song, like you put them out on a video, you know. And I think that it takes a lot of you got to be pretty brave to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you can't be afraid to speak something that's true to you. You know, even though this wasn't, that's not how I feel now.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the time I wrote this, I wanted to write it from a perspective of people who are going through stuff like this and may not know how to vocalize it. That's why I always want to keep it honest in my music. You know, as tough as it can be to talk about certain things, we got to.
And that's really, I think, as a listener, I think that's really the best way that you can connect with the artist is just by having the artist show those vulnerabilities, you know, not only through video but like through their music and being able to connect with them. I think the empathy piece makes it just that much more impactful to people who are listening to you.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I think for me as a listener of music, specifically hip hop, I really like the genre because I feel like that's one of the few genres where people are not afraid to just be vulnerable
true.
and just say
Yeah.
those things that we don't really want to feel. and you just tune into a good song and you just kind of let it all out.
Yeah.
And I feel like I get that when I listen to your music. So
thank you.
That's cool, man.
Appreciate that.
I wanna flip over to Killers because I really like this one.
This song is so dope, bro. This transition right here kind of blew my mind a little bit right there.
Yeah, shout out to Fuego.
Yeah.
I thought that was so dope.
I think the thing that really stood out to me for this one is the fact that you played the bartender in this music video, and you were almost like talking to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that was just like a really cool, in terms of vibe of a video that really was just cool to me.
This is still some people's favorite, because of the perspective from 3 different angles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually trying to shoot something similar to this in the future off the Mosaic project, but I do like this one a lot. Yeah, shout out to the bad man right there. He's a good friend. Josue. Fuego really did well, man, for just talking about 3 different lifestyles. And I mean, the song speaks on more street life, but we wanted to really show in the video, no matter where you come from, people feel stuck.
Right.
And that's what this really embodies. Like
that.
With this guy here in the business life, he's just like, fuck, man. Like, I just can't catch a break.
Exactly.
It's crazy, bro, because this is like a little movie.
It is.
It's a song, the production, the way the video ties it all together. Like, that is not easy to do.
It's not. And that's what we strive for, honestly. Like, with everything we do, every video we put out, we want you to know, like, this isn't just a video. Like, I want you to know that there's a purpose for this. Even like I don't know, like, just to give some insight, every song of Mosaic is going to have a video, right?
Ooh, okay.
And then they're all going to be connected to each other. It's going to be like you're watching a movie and seeing a transition of myself throughout it. Bro. And that's what we always want. And, you got to set yourself apart, and that's how you do it. It's just not give people stuff that they're used to seeing.
Right.
And, showing them stuff like this.
Oh, this is awesome, man. No, props to you. And again, this is just shows the level of effort that you put into each piece of content that you put out. So really hats off to you.
Man. People really got to check out these videos though, man. You put a lot of work into them.
Yeah. While we're on this, I'm gonna keep playing that in the background. But one of the things that I really thought was cool about you, if we look at the people that listen to you, you have people from the Philippines, obviously from Seattle, Brazil, LA. Like you're worldwide, and I think that's really cool.
And that's crazy to think about.
Do people from the Philippines and like from Brazil like hit you up and like DM you like, hey man, like I listen to your music, or like do you know like how they even heard you in the first place?
Sometimes they do, and sometimes it just really comes down to marketing and just pushing it to different places. And if they latch onto it, they do. Gotcha. But I have had some people hit me up and be like, I really love this song. And I don't even know what the hell they're saying because I don't speak Spanish. So I have to like convert it. And I'll be like, oh, and then I'll convert it back and send it to them. But yeah, it's cool, man. Like recently, Japan's really been showing me love recently.
That's crazy.
So on it's crazy.
Man,
it's crazy.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. I wanted to call that out because I thought that was just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
That's cool, man. So let's transition. Let's talk about what we really came here to talk about, man.
Right.
Your new album, Mosaic.
Right.
So just off the top, the name, Mosaic. I don't really know a lot about what, Mosaic even means. I had to Google it, but it's kind of like an art piece that's put together through a bunch of different smaller pieces of art, right?
Right.
Kind of in essence, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain kind of why you named it that?
So for the listeners and people who don't know, every project I put out, the news, the little EPs from Vibes to Red Winter, they're all connected. So I wanted Mosaic to be like a conclusion to those 3 pieces because they're all different in ways where, the news is a hip-hop piece, Vibes is an R&B piece, and the Red Winter is like a mixture, like a small mixture. And I wanted to be very vulnerable in this project. And a Mosaic, like you said, is an art piece. And it also means, in other definitions, a less or incoherent whole, right? So, like, I wanted to bring it all together and let you know, like, this is why I act the way I act. This is why I am the way I am. I always gave people the what with those projects, but I never gave them the why. So I wanted to give them the why with this.
Got it.
So I feel like, we did a good job doing that.
What was kind of your creative process putting together this album as opposed to, maybe applying some lessons learned from your first one?
Man, that's a good question. I would say I just wrote from a place where I don't really write from, in the sense of like, because I'm a very private guy. If you know me, I'm a very private guy. Like, what you see is what you get. And I try to like give more, and sometimes I feel like I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
I feel you on that.
Right? Yep. But at the same time, I knew it was time, because a lot of people enjoy the content I put out. Yeah. And they like how it's like, deep, but it's not like too deep. And I know people want to know me more on like where I come from, what I stand for, what I represent. So I was like, it's time. Yeah. I gave you 3 little projects. I'm like, it's time for me to just like throw it out there.
Let it out. That's cool.
So that's why, I Don't Know was the first song I wrote. So that's why I started so heavy. And when I was done writing it, I said, this is the first song I'm putting out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I feel that, man. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense too, because all the pieces that you put out over the past 2 years kind of come together on this album too. And so now that, we understand like the meaning behind Mosaic, it kind of makes sense. You're just putting all these pieces together, and this is the ultimate result of it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Nah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of my overall impressions on the album were, one, you're very versatile. There's a lot of different styles on this album.
Yeah,
there's some where you're singing. There's some songs that are kind of like a little harder, like you're going in, you're actually like spitting. There's some songs that are kind of chill, like you can kick back, have a drink, maybe smoke too. There's some songs, where you're kind of just cruising, like you feel that vibe, like you're just chilling. Yeah. So you bring like a lot to the table. You listen to some artists and they have kind of one style of song, and they kind of just stick to that. They kind of, give different varieties of that one style.
Right.
But you're versatile. So I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
And I also noticed, like we mentioned, is the introspective kind of vulnerable style that you have on a lot of your songs. Some of my top 3, I wrote them down.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I really like Friction.
Okay.
I thought that song was really cool. I really like the beat and just the vibe that you met with it.
Shout out to Evergreen. He produced that, and I like that track a lot too.
Really dope track. That's probably my favorite one off the album for sure. Friction, and then I really like Monster. I really like how
that's crazy,
because I kind of related to you there, man. Kind of like how you were like kind of like reflecting on your life and kind of decisions that you made, and kind of like I feel like a lot of people wouldn't want to put that on a song, Yeah. And I respect you for that.
Thank you.
And then obviously I really liked IDK. I really liked that song.
Thank you.
Just overall cool.
That's crazy, man, because like Monster was one of those where I was just like, this just feels right.
Yeah.
And for the people who've heard it, because I've held a couple like small listening parties for people who are part of the project or just some, big fans and stuff, and they all go to Monster. They're all like, that, like this one. And I'm just like, it's just blowing my mind, because like, I just didn't expect it.
No, and it's funny because that's a song that was kind of stuck in my head. Like the next day when I wasn't listening to it, I was just, I was doing some work. And I just I heard the chorus, I'm feeling like a monster. I really like that, man. That's dope. No,
thank you.
And you did a lot of singing on the album too, which is cool. Have you always done that?
Well, so I've learned how to be a better singer over the years. And I always knew that like R&B was like my pocket, right? But I never wanted to just be a one-trick pony, right? So I wanted to keep working on my rapping, my storytelling. Yeah. And then a lot of people like, artist friends are like, yo, you got to do more singing stuff. Like, do more singing stuff. And I'm like, okay. So, like, I started mixing it. And then, like, I feel like on this project is where I really, like, found the perfect mesh of doing, like, the rap and the singing stuff.
I see that.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah, I really like Back to the Hood because it was the one, when I first heard that song on your album, that really made the distinction. I was like, wow, like, this is a different type of flavor of Emanuel Brown. And the feature with Fresh C, I think that was really cool. Fresh. Yeah. So I think that was kind of, I wouldn't say those favorites that Max mentioned are also my favorites, but I think that's the one that really stood out to me. I was like, wow, like this guy has range. Like he has different types of sounds that he could play with. And that's what I love about your album, because it's always, each track is something a little different.
Right. No, thank you. And I mean, we really wanted to bring the puzzle pieces together. Yeah. And like, like I said, I can't take all the credit, because my engineer and mastering engineer, Sam, shout out Sam Murner. He did all that work to make it sound beautiful. Shout out to Enon, Jonah Toner, Evergreen. They made all the beats. My guy Lucas is shooting all the footage and stuff like that for me. So, Marina, Fresh, King Dow, the features on it, they did great work too.
Yeah.
It's a team of people to put together music, right?
It's a small village,
videos and everything, an album.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm never going to be the guy who just like takes all the credit because it's not, I can't do it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you freestyle.
Of course.
Of real freestyle too.
Of course.
Man, so you want to freestyle right now?
Let's get it.
On the show?
Let's go.
It's funny too, because I want this to go on the record. We told him, like, you want to listen to the beat before? He said, no, I don't do that.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not real hip hop. Like, we need to surprise me. Like, throw the beat on and I'm going to rap on it. So
yeah.
All right, this is the first time. I mean, this is literally the first time that he's going to listen to it. So
let's get it.
All right. Here we go.
It's so funny because my brother was like, you gonna practice? And I was like, I always practice. And like, I know how that sounds crazy to some people, but you gotta stay ready. Let's see.
Yeah.
We hear where the drop comes in.
Yes, sir.
This is nice too.
Mm-hmm. This is picked by Max.
Okay. I've been going for a long time. Emanuel Brown, I'm really on my own grind. What you know about trying to be a legend? Looking at this boy and they never can go test him up. Look, I've been really going in. Everybody wanna say they trying to be a liver, flying. I mean the grinder for real. Just understand it's something that you never can play with deals. Yes, I've been destined. I'm destined like. This beat hella smooth. I'm really feeling like I'm in a groove.
Let's go.
The mood so sweet. Feeling like I've been unique. Never can go test me. Feeling smooth on this here nice beat. Representing VA like always. Never can go play. 2 up, 2 down all day. Hey, 206 where we at. Understand we killers with these raps,
Hey.
I sing a little bit and I vocalize too. Never bring in too much auto-tune. This is what we do. Selling out these shows. Yeah, what you know. Yeah, I got the flows like, whoa. Here we go. Hey.
Get the fire
extinguisher. Brown in the building.
Hey, I appreciate y'all.
Let's go.
Let's go. Hey man, well, first of all, thank you, man, for coming through the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This was something that we were looking forward to for sure, and man, it exceeded our expectations, I think. So,
thank you. And I mean, let me give you guys your flowers. You know, shout out to you guys for having me, giving me the opportunity to come on here and make sure all the listeners go check out all these episodes. Y'all make good work. You know, and I don't take that lightly. I don't say that lightly. You do great work. So you deserve your flowers, you know.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much, Emanuel. Yeah. And you actually brought us, physical copies of your album.
Yep.
So we're actually gonna open them up real quick.
Yeah,
look at the packaging, man. Yeah. This guy is down to the packaging.
Yeah, look at that.
Looks really nice, man. I want to open it carefully too, because I want to like.
No, that's all right. It's just packaging, man. You can get more. Man, it's okay.
It looks cool though.
I probably shouldn't have sealed it closed, huh?
It's all good.
Max,
we're gonna have to see if we actually hit the gym, man. Ooh, this looks nice.
Yeah, so we got some stickers in there.
There's a few things in here.
Wow.
Yeah,
bro. What?
Man, this is where I'm talking about the quality.
Yo, this is wild.
Detail.
This is wild.
Yo.
Okay.
Oh, so this is the lyric book.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And this is the lyric book to Mosaic, the new album that you're dropping.
Yeah, so how we're doing it is for anybody who pre-orders it on iTunes, buys a physical CD, you'll get a free lyric book with all the lyrics from every artist in there. We got a little bio in there. And then we have like excerpts of my favorite lyrics from each song on separate pages. So yeah.
And I just want to show the camera real quick. This is the album. So this is the physical CD.
Yep.
And it's a mosaic. I mean, you can see like the design on it. You see the track listing on the back.
Yeah.
Who did the artwork on this?
Shout out to Haichi Art. He lives in Dubai.
Look at this.
So he did that artwork for me.
Damn.
Yeah. Shout out to Danielle Flynn. She did it. She's from Portland. She did some dope graphic design for me. And we spent a couple months putting this book together. So yeah,
this is crazy, bro.
Thank you.
It's crazy, man. I'm just gonna say it again. The attention to detail, man. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, and even like
you wrote it.
You see how like right there on Back to the Hood, you see where your finger is.
Yeah.
You see the lyrics where it says "Get a Ferrari from cutting these rocks." Like,
right here.
If you flip the page back, right, you see like that's where it says the lyrics right there, right. That's what I'm saying. Those are my favorite lyrics from that song. And then when you flip the page. Right, and as you're reading it, you'll see it highlighted that those were my favorite lyrics within that song. So that's like, you know, a lot of things we were thinking about. Yeah,
that's cool. You put a lot of time and thought into this
Yes.
for sure, man.
Thank
and
you.
it shows. That is crazy. I want to ask you about this sticker right here because I see you have a sweater about it too. I was looking at it as I was asking you questions too, trying to read it, and I see it on a sticker too. So I gotta ask about it. What does this represent?
So yeah, shout out to Suki. She drew this face. Right, we used to work together.
Okay.
She drew this face while we were at work one day, and I was like, "Let me get that." So I said, "I'm gonna put it on merch one day." So then we did. So there's a song called "Keep Going" on the project. It's the last song, and in the lyrics I say, "Clip my wings." Right, so this is a clipped wing. Right, and then this is a regular wing. It says "Clip my wings," so it seems, and then the ATSIN says stands for "All they say is never," and then the I and believe. So it's like that's
the
what I
hoodie
have here.
that you're wearing right now.
Yeah, right here. You know, it's just like all they tell you is you can never do anything, but I believe it. So that's what I really wanted to drive the merch behind.
Gotcha.
A lot of the visuals behind everything is like you can do anything you want to do if you believe it.
Absolutely,
That's
man.
cool, man.
That's
a
cool.
really good message too.
Love that.
Cool. Well, with that, we wrap up the interview, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you
Emanuel
again, man.
Brown,
Thank you for having me.
Brown. All right.
When this episode drops, by the way, the album is coming out June 23rd, right?
24th.
24th. So June
24th,
24th. When this episode comes out, it'll be the week of June 24th. So make sure to check it out later this week when E Brown's album drops. And Mosaic is the title. You can pre-order it on his website. You can check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, pretty much anywhere you can.
Everywhere. I'm everywhere.
He's everywhere. Yep.
So
We'll probably drop a video the day that the project drops too.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Dope.
Nice. So yeah, we'll have all of his social media handles in the description. New Untapped Potential episodes coming out every single Monday. So like, subscribe, leave a comment, and catch us next time.
Hey.